continents. Okay, so we are going to have the second session for today. The topic of the session is about the development of conservation based on traditional methodologies and the use of natural products in Indonesia. This session will be delivered by the most well-known people here in this course, Mr. Nahar Cahyandaru. Hello, Mr. Nahar.
Hello.
It's good to have you here this session. Yeah, Mr. Nahar is the staff at the Borobudur Conservation Office. Now he holds a master degree of World Heritage Studies from Torino University in Italy. And now he's pursuing his doctoral at the Department of Chemistry. He's taking chemistry science at University of Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. So about the conservation science, he is the expert in our office. Okay, Mr. Nahar, we will have 2 hours for your presentation and question and answer sessions. Could we start now?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Time and place is yours, Mr. Nahar.
So, okay, thank you very much, Mas Hanif, for delivering this session, and for all participants. Good noon and good morning, maybe for European participants. And I hope you had a good break. You have a good breakfast for European and also lunch for Indonesian and other participants. And this session actually like a summary of all of the program of this course. So maybe I will talk a little bit about the first session of sociology, and also a little bit summary of the practice, laboratory practice that we will have tomorrow. So we can say that the session is kind of like a summary of this sessions. So I'll start this presentation by opening my screen. So my title is Development of Heritage Conservation based on traditional methodology and the utilization of natural product in Indonesia. As Pak Hanif introduced me, my name is Nahar Cahyandaru. This is my complete name, and I work in Borobudur Conservation Office from 2004. So I'm already in Borobudur more than 15 years experience, and this is my email address. If you want to make a correspondence with me, you can also send your a message through my email. And okay, I'll start this presentation by explaining about what is Borobudur Conservation Office, who also organized this course. So it's better to give an understanding for all participants about this institution, about our institution. So Borobudur Conservation Office is one of conservation office in Indonesia under Director General of Culture. So we have a Ministry of Education and Culture in Indonesia, and we have a Director General of Culture. And below the Director General of Culture, we have regional conservation offices. There are 12 conservation offices, regional offices. In Sumatra, in Java, in Kalimantan, we have in Sulawesi. And so this is the regional offices. And then we have a Borobudur Conservation Office, and we have also Sangiran Early Man Site Conservation Office. This is a little bit different with other regional offices. And we have also museums, like one yesterday we had a presentation from a National Museum, and we have also another museum like Basuki Abdullah Museum, we have a National Gallery, and so on. Borobudur Conservation Office has a different task with other regional conservation offices because we manage a World Heritage Site and also the area. As we know, Borobudur Temple itself is a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1991. So basically, our office also manages this World Heritage Sites. And now we also manage the area because there are many sites around the World Heritage Sites, a small site like a small temple and other excavation site. And our second task is basically about the research and development. The Borobudur Conservation Office is a center for the research and development of conservation methodology in Indonesia. So the result of our research then uh, sent to other institutions so they can also apply this methodology in the new approach of conservation in their own offices. And then we have also the task to do the technical support, to do facilitation, cooperation, human resources development like this one, the course, and we have also the national course, regional course, and also local course for local workers. We have also many kind of course, but this is we have to this task we have to collaborate with the human resource directorate. Yesterday we last 2 days ago we met with Mr. Yudi Wahyudin, he is the director of human resource development, and also with uh, training center in Jakarta. We have a close collaboration with those other institutions. And this is our office building. It's a beautiful office for me. I think you also agree with me. This is a beautiful office. The location is near with Borobudur Temple itself. And this is the sign of our office. Okay, and as a research and development center, we have a facility to do the development. Of course, we have a laboratories. First is this our chemistry laboratory to do the preparation of the sample, to do the analysis of chemical analysis, wet analysis, and so on. And we have also the microbiology. This one is our microbiology laboratory. There are many equipment to do the microbiology testing, the sterilization equipment, the laminar airflow, and so on. And then we have also a physics and petrography analysis, like physical property tests and also the petrographic analysis. And we have also instrumental laboratory. Here we have a scanning electron microscope and X-ray fluorescent spectroscopy and other equipment. This is atomic absorption spectrophotometer for chemical analysis and other instrument. And we have also conservation lab. This is the place where we can do the conservation testing, conservation development. This we call conservation lab. And then we have also the field laboratory. This is the laboratory where the artificial, let's say artificial heritage located. So we can do the testing for our material on this kind of artificial temples. This one is a stone artificial temple, and this is a brick artificial temple. So this is not the original temples, but we copy the temple and we put near with the office. So if we want to do the material testing, we can do in this artificial heritage or artificial temples. It's better to do this testing before we apply to the real heritage. I think this is the one of the principle in the development of conservation technique. We have to apply on the non-heritage first before we apply on the real heritage. This is what we have in our office, in Borobudur Conservation Office. And if you want to, if you have a time to visit Indonesia or to visit Borobudur Temple, so just come to my office. So you are invited. So we can show you our facilities and what we do in this office. Then I will continue with my presentation about the background of traditional based conservation, we will start with the basic idea why, basic question, why traditional based conservation, why we develop this kind of conservation, why we don't develop other type of conservation, the modern one, for example, but why we choose traditional based conservation of our as our direction for the development in Indonesia. This is some reason of the answer of the question why traditional based conservation. So first is a identification of some traditional practices for cultural heritage maintenance. So in traditional society, they have several practices with the object. For example, people who has a traditional weapon, like Chris, as you can see, in the video in Indonesia, we have many traditional weapon. One of them is Chris, and in traditional society, they have practices how to maintenance the Chris, how to make a treatment to the Chris itself. So by identifying this kind of practices, we can understand that we we have this method, so we can develop. This is the first idea. But the second idea then, the second reason then, after UNESCO monitoring report, this is on 26, 29, we got some notes from UNESCO that we can read also in the UNESCO website, State of Conservation report from UNESCO. One of the recommendation was to stop the use of chemical for the conservation and develop a new method, because UNESCO expert at the time identify some negative impact of the use of chemical like epoxy resins and so on, so that they give this recommendation to us. Of course, after this recommendation, we try to discuss among us and how they develop a new method, a new methodology for the conservation. This is also the background why, and then we develop a traditional based conservation. And then the other reason is from the law of Indonesia concerning the heritage conservation. This is law number 11, 2010. It's quite new. It's 10 years ago. And in this regulation, in this law, there are new regulation. First is about the ownership and the conservation actor. Before this regulation, we have law number 5, 1992. In this old law, the conservation activity mainly done by the government. So private or personal who has a heritage cannot do the conservation. But after this number 11 law, the ownership and the conservation actor will become more common. Not only government, but people or organization can have their own heritage, and then they can also do the conservation. Because we need to develop a methodology to give a guideline to all of Indonesian people or all Indonesian institutions with the better methodology. So the goal of this development is the guidance, basically the guidance. And then in this law number 11, there's also uh, regulation about the reversibility principle. How the reversibility is always one of the big concern when we do the conservation. So we have to develop a new method that really have a reversibility aspect. So this is not easy because the most chemical material for conservation is not a reversible one. So we have to develop a new material which is reversible. And then there is also regulation about the minimum intervention, and then also the scientific based conservation. So all of the conservation activity should be based on the scientific proof or scientific activity. So we cannot do like, yeah, usually we do like this. No, we have to make all of conservation technique is scientific based. And then number 4 is uh, the availability issues of the conservation material, because we are in Indonesia, so sometimes the good conservation material is not available. It's different condition maybe in European. You can easily get the good conservation material, but here in Indonesia and Southeast Asia in general, the availability of the conservation material is sometimes difficult. Sometimes the brand is discontinued, so we have to choose another new brand, and we have to testing from the beginning. This is also an issue. So the other problem is the long-term impact of the conservation material. For instance, I like to show this picture of wall, Borobudur temple wall. This is, for example, you see in the whitish line here on the stone block. This is the stone joint by the epoxy mortar. This is done in 1973, 1983 during the second restoration. At that time, in 1970s, 1980s, epoxidation is the best, maybe the best material for conservation. But after several years, there's a negative impact because the epoxy resin is waterproof material. So the water movement inside the pore is blocked by this kind of material, and the result is a accumulation of the deterioration on the stone. So this is the long-term impact of the conservation material. So that's why we have to think how to formulate other better method. And then we have a biodiversity and natural product availability, as Giorgio said in the last discussion. He said that we in Indonesia has many natural products. It's true, we have a natural product. So why we don't use this for the conservation material? And also the global paradigm of traditional conservation. I show some example here in the publication from ICROM. The title is traditional conservation practices in Africa. I mean, the traditional conservation base is not only developed in Indonesia but also in other countries, because this is the global paradigm of traditional based conservation development. Okay, I will continue. And this is the outline of mainstreaming traditional based conservation. So we start with the identification of the local knowledge. This is the material the material from the first session of this course, if you remember, from Professor Hedi. He's a sociologist, and so we have to identify the local knowledge that we can develop into new conservation material. And then we do a selection and also a scientific testing, because as I said before, that all of our conservation methods have to be scientifically proven. And then we do the method improvement, not only just the same like what traditional people do, but we can also develop to improve this method to be a better and maybe more suitable materials. I will explain detail one by one after this slide, and we do also the standardization and application, and then the last one is the mainstreaming this idea, and replace of course replace the old method. Old mean not really old, but maybe this is modern, but I take quotes here, old method to replace and introduce the new method with a traditional based technology. Okay, I will explain one by one of this outline. First is to identify the local knowledge. From where we can get this local knowledge? There are many resources actually. First is from the traditional practices, as I said in the beginning, like how to maintain the house, how to maintain traditional weapon with a special ritual, for example. There are many traditional practices that we can learn from the traditional society in Indonesia. And as you know, we are a large country with many islands, many tribes, maybe more than 700 tribes with the different characteristic in Indonesia. So we can go to this specific society, and then we can learn from the traditional practices. But this is not easy, as Professor Hedi explained in his lecture, the first session of this course. And number two, we can also get this information from the old manuscript. We have a lot of manuscript in Indonesia. First, for example, Lontar. This one, and this left is Lontar. This is written on the leaf of Lontar tree. Then the Lontar tree is like a kind of coconut, but it's not coconut, it's like coconut. And people take the leaf of this Lontar and write down the story, or maybe the note on this leaf. And this is also important important source for the local knowledge information. We have many, especially in Bali province. They still have a living tradition of lontar. And then daluang. Daluang is another form of paper. First is lontar, second is daluang. Daluang made from a special fiber of a daluang tree. It's like a papyrus, but it's a little bit different because it's a tropical tree. It's a big tree, and people can take the bark of this tree and process it, and then we get the daluang. And also babat. Babat is a history of specific like a kingdom or specific society. For example, this is a Babat Mataram. This is the history of people from Mataram. And we have also Babat Tanah Jawa. This is the history of Java land, for example, like that. And inside in this Babat, we can also get many information regarding the local knowledge. And then the ancient books, for example, because nowadays many ancient book was translated into Indonesian language, so we can also get the information. For example, this is Serat Centini. Serat Centini is a old Java language book basically, but nowadays we can get the translation of the Serat Centini in Bahasa Indonesia. This is a very big book, so that's why the publisher divided into 12 series of books. But this is a story, daily story of Java people. But this book is not suggested for not suggested for non-adult people, for like children, because there are also other story, yeah, let's say an adult story. So it's also for us, not for our children. And then folklore, you know what is folklore, and we can also get the local knowledge from folklore, and also the direct observation to the traditional community. This is also important, but we have to spend our time to go to the specific community and learn how they live and so on. So we have to spend specific time to do this observation. I will continue. Okay, then after we identify, we do the selection, because not all the local knowledge can develop into a methodology. Of course, you understand it. So we have to select which one we can develop further, but we have to avoid something like myths, something that we cannot scientifically explain. Like what we have here. We have a picture of mosque in Pulau Penyengat. Pulau Penyengat is located in Riau province. Riau province in near Sumatra Island. So in this mosque, people believe that this mosque made by a mortar, lime mortar with egg yolk, you know, the white from the egg. But it's really difficult to explain scientifically how the white yolk of egg can build this kind of big building with the mortar. So yeah, maybe in the next future other people can explain. For example, in European, there's a method for cleaning the painting using saliva. Maybe you from European, you can explain what is saliva treatment to make from saliva from the people and do the cleaning. But at the beginning, this is difficult to explain. But then by scientific approach, maybe people can also explain because there's a decomposition of the from the enzyme inside the saliva. Yes, something like that. And then sometimes we also found the unreasonable material. It's difficult to accept by our mind. For example, this is the example of a traditional house in Lombok. Lombok is the island next after Bali. So it's near Bali Islands. In Lombok, there's one village that people do the treatment on their house using a cow shit. It's a cow shit. So it's difficult to understand. For me, as a chemist, for me, it's an unreasonable material. It's not not acceptable in terms of chemistry, in terms of even in health. This is not a health. It's a shit. Yes. And also sometimes we also found an unavailable material because the material is difficult to take because it's located in a specific area. We have to avoid. We cannot develop this kind of knowledge to be a conservation material. And then the next step is to do the scientific testing. Uh, we have to prove all of this knowledge is scientifically right, scientifically correct. So first we have to do the testing for the efficacy by the field and laboratory testing. For example, here I have the testing of anti-fungi, so the material to kill the fungi. So I do the laboratory test first, and then also the field test by applying this material in a specific area. So this kind of testing has to be done first before we say that okay, this method is effective. This method have a special efficacy, and then we also do the statistic testing. This is a kind of scientific methodology to prove uh, that something is scientific or not. We can do the statistic test. So I cannot explain in detail, but I think you know what I mean. And then also important to know the bioactive compound containing in this material. What kind of bioactive compound actually work and play a role in this kind of methodology. So we do the analysis of bioactive compound. First, we do the identification and extraction. And then we do the separation and purification, and then characterization. For example, the most simple example I think is essential oil. Uh, our ancestors, for example, use lemongrass for conserving the textile. Then we can extract the oil from lemongrass. That we call essential oil. After the extraction, then we do the purification of this essential oil to know what kind of compound actually containing in this essential oil, and then we do the characterization. There are many equipment, there are many instruments to do the characterization. For example, this is the FTIR analysis, this is NMR analysis, this is this is carbon NMR. Oh, sorry, this is mass spectrophotometry analysis, and this is the NMR analysis. I will not explain more detail about this because this is very chemistry. For you who has no background on chemistry, maybe it's difficult to understand. But basically we can do the purification and characterization of this bioactive compound. And then the next step is the improvement, to improve this material, this method. First is to do the optimization of the method and the maximum condition, like our colleague from Philippines asked to Professor Yanto and the last season, uh, how the condition of the application, the temperature, the humidity, and so on. So we need to the optimization of this method. How to apply? Do we need to spray or with a brush or and so on? So we have to make a optimization. And how many percent in the solution we have to also to optimize the solution. And then the schedule, how many time in a year do we need to repeat this method? How many years? Maybe uh, once a year, or maybe twice a year, or maybe even 2 years, or maybe every 4 years. It depends on our test. So we need to do the optimization of this method, and then we can also to extract the active compound, like for example, is essential oil. Essential oil is a active compound in the plant, and we can extract from the plant, and we can get the essential oil, and then we can also purify and also get the better active compound with the pure active compound. And then we can also do the chemical modification. Not all chemical can be modified, but some of the uh, natural product material can be modified. For example, we do the combination of some kind of essential oil, because maybe in this essential oil is not quite strong for specific organism, and then we can combine with other essential oil. This is also possible. And Professor Rianto already introduced how to combine the essential oil silver, with a silver, a nanoparticle of silver. This is also the chemical modification. So we can get the better efficacy of the material, because we can combine the essential oil, for example, with a silver nanoparticle. And then we have also the formula for the solution. We can make a modification of the solution. For the essential oil, mainly we modify into emulsion. It's easy to dissolve and easy to apply. And then now we are also developing nanotechnology for this modification. For example, this one, and below this is the uh, nano emulsion. Sorry, nano emulsion of lemongrass oil. This is nano emulsion of lemongrass oil. So at the beginning, we start with the lemongrass oil directly application on the surface of the stone. This is the picture when we apply on the lichen and on the moss, and it's effective. It can kill. So then we modify the lemongrass oil with a solution, with a part, not particle, but it's a solution, yeah, like solution. And then we want to increase the solution for better efficacy. So then we make a nano emulsion of the solution. So the basic idea is like this: to make the particle size of the essential oil as small as possible. And the result of this research is last year. This is my research with student from Gajah Mada University, and we can get the size of the nano emulsion is some like 10 nanometers, 10, 20 nanometers. It's very good. And the emulsion also stable. So with a very low concentration, maybe less than 1% of essential oil, we can get the good material from the conservation. Then also we do the standardization and application. First, we do the publication. For example, this one, when we formulate the methodology for wood conservation for other institutions to do the collection, to do the sites, the houses. So we publish a book on the conservation of the wood architecture. And then we also try to formulate the standard method and technical guidance. And of course, we do the on-spot testing because as I said before that we cannot use a single formula for all problem in conservation. It's impossible. So we have to specify the problem and then to apply some choices, and then we can decide which one is the good best solution on this kind of problem. So the on the spot testing is very important, and one of the example of on the spot testing is to apply uh, the essential oil as well in the brick temple in East Java. This is done last year by my colleagues in on some spots in East Java in the brick temple. We did the on the spot testing, and then benchmarking. I mean to compare which one is better, and this method and other method. And then this is the next step, how to mainstream, how to do this, become a mainstream in our conservation work. This is not easy. This is a very difficult work because maybe other conservators say that I have a modern technology, I have a modern method. Why I have to accept another traditional method? This is something that we have to discuss. We have to shift the paradigm. This is not something that we can just tell to other people and all people agree. This is not as easy like that. So we have many programs for the discussion, seminar, training. This is the example of the training in our office. We have, as I said before, we have a field laboratory, and one of the object in our field laboratory is wood house. This is our wooden house, and people from many conservation institution in Indonesia, we invite them, and then they do the training here, and this is when we together doing the cleaning with a traditional method. Okay, that is the idea, the basic concept of the mainstreaming the traditional technology, and then we will move to the example. This is just some example, not many, because we have limited time, and we still want to have discussion at the last. So I just take some example, not many. This is wood conservation. There are many factors that that actually damage the wood heritage. First, of course, the termites and other insects like beetle, borer, and so on. And there's also fungi like this one. This is a fungi or like lichens, and algae and other microorganisms like this one. Maybe there's a bacteria live in the wood, and then also the physical damages. So how we deal with this many problem on wood conservation. And yesterday there is a participant. There was a participant asking about the wooden architecture in Indonesia. So that's why I decided to put some pictures of wooden heritage in Indonesia. This is the example of Yogyakarta Palace, the Sultan Palace of Yogyakarta. This is also from wood, but this is from 18th century building. And also the Surakarta Sultan Palace. This is also around 17th century. And Cirebon Palace also around 17th, 18th century. And this is at another island in Nusa Tenggara, next after Bali. After Bali, Lombok, this is Sumbawa Island. This is the palace of Dalam Loka. This is also maybe I don't know, I don't remember well. Maybe 18th or 19th century, and this is a Buton kingdom. There's a fortress around the kingdom, and there's also a wooden architecture in the Buton kingdom. The Buton kingdom located in Sulawesi Island. And then there's another traditional houses in Indonesia. This is from Toraja, I think you know. This in Sulawesi. This is very interesting sites with a beautiful shape of the houses. And this is in Sumatra, North Sumatra, uh, Bolon Bolon House. The name is Bolon House. And this is a very beautiful big house of Rumah Gadang, and Rumah Gadang also mean big house. This is big house in West Sumatra. Maybe the participant from West Sumatra office can help me to explain better about this house. This is, I don't know, maybe 17th or 18th or 19th century, I don't know. And this is from Kalimantan. We call Petang, Rumah Petang, also the big house. And this is from Nias, Babu Matalu. I think Miss Nisa yesterday also explained about Nias houses. And this is the great mosque of Demak. This is from 18th century, I think, yeah, 18th century in Demak. But it was many times restoration there, so not the exactly the same material. I think some of the material was changed with a new one. And these four pillars here, this is still from the original 18th century. 18 or 17, I don't remember well. Maybe other participant can help me. Maybe 17 or 18th century pillars. This is from the thick wood for pillars. And this is Kota Gede, also the great mosque of Kota Gede. And then this is another mosque in Sumatra. This is Bingkudu. This is also in West Sumatra. And this is Kerinci. Kerinci located in Jambi. So maybe the participant can from Jambi can also add good information about these sites. And this is in Jogja. We call Soko Tunggal. Soko mean pillars, and Tunggal means single. So this is the mosque with the single pillars, like this one. This is also the mosque with the single pillars. This is very interesting because, as you know, in Islamic religion, we believe in one God. So if we can build the place for worship with our single pillars, it will be represent the basic idea of Islam belief, the one God, the only one God we believe. This is a Punjul Harjo ancient book that Mr. Abi in the first day course, he mentioned about the conservation of ancient wood from 8th century wood. This is very, very interesting because this is very, very old and the condition of the wood is very, very fragile. And then we successfully conserve this kind of wood with a special treatment. And this is the picture when we do the conservation treatment. And this is the condition of nowadays. So after we finish the conservation, so people can see the shape of the wood, and this is very interesting data for marine archaeology. And this is now the boot in Sumatra, but not excavated yet, still in the location in Jambi. And why 8th century we have this kind of traditional boot? Because if we look at the Borobudur temple, we can see in the wall of Borobudur temple, there are many big boot because we are located in the island, and Indonesia is an archipelago, so we have to travel from one island to other island. So that's why from 8th century we have a marine technology. So this is also important. Next is about the Kudus traditional house. When this is important because this is the first time when we we develop the traditional base conservation, because the Kudus traditional house introduced to use the traditional material, which is tobacco and clove, to maintain the house. So this is the shape of the traditional house in Kudus. This is one example of Kudus traditional house. And this is the condition when people always conserve with the traditional material, with a routine, with a gradual treatment. This is maybe 1 or 2 year. So we can see how beautiful the wood was. So like this, or also this one. This is in the house. This is outside. This is inside. But we can see here the condition of wood is really, really excellent, because they always do the treatment every year or maybe twice a year. And then we decide, oh, this is a very good idea to start the, the development of the traditional based technology. And then we do the scientific testing. We try to analyze the bioactive compound in the clove oil, and also the bioactive compound in the tobacco. This is just an example how to identify the bioactive compound in the clove oil. And this one we will see more in detail tomorrow morning, because we will have a laboratory practice. And the first session of the laboratory practice will be in the extraction of the natural product from this conservation technique. So we will see you tomorrow morning to discuss more in detail about this. And for doing the laboratory testing, we also do the efficacy testing, which is the test for termite repellent. Yeah, for termite repellent. This is the tissue paper or cellulose paper, and then we put the termite here, the testing termite, and then we see the effect of this extract to the termite. How many termite die after 1 day, after 2 day, after 3 day, and of course from the paper without treatment, the termite will alive because the cellulose paper is the food for termites. And also we do the testing with the fungi. You see here, this is the petri dish with agar media for fungi growth. And this is the spot of the material. We have 3 spots here, 1, 2, and 1 more here. This is the control. This is without the solution. This is with the solution or extract. This is with the solution or extract. And then we can see the area around the extract is clean from the fungi growth. It means this material can actually kill the fungi. This is how we do for the efficacy testing for fungi. And then wood restoring, we have to learn how to fill the gap joint, to fill the crack of the wood. We do injection, we do camouflage to like this. So I think this topic will also discussed during the laboratory practice of gluing technique. So maybe you can more understand during the laboratory practice. And then I will move to another example. This is from the metal conservation. For the metal conservation, we develop a method for cleaning with the lemon. So if we open to the standard method, the international well-known standard method, the solution for metal cleaning is normally we use citric acid solution. Yes, citric acid solution is a common solution for metal cleaning, and also maybe other object cleaning. But citric acid for metal cleaning is a common method. So then we identify that lemon contain high content of citric acid. So that's why we try to use this lemon to do the cleaning of the metal object. And the result is very good because we can see from this picture how the old object with a corrosion on it, we can clean with the lemon. And now we also developed the mixture of the lemon with a soda, uh, baking soda, no, sodium bicarbonate. Yeah, sodium bicarbonate is soda. So the mixture between lemon and sodium bicarbonate will decrease the acidity of the material. If we use the pure lemon extract, the acidity is very high. So if we afraid that the metal will be dissolved. Yeah? So we decrease the acidity of the lemon by adding the soda or the sodium bicarbonate. And the sodium bicarbonate also produce the carbon dioxide gas, and the gas will be also help to to remove the crush on the metal. So this two thing that plays on this activity. So first to decrease the acidity, and second to produce the gas, to produce the carbon dioxide gas to get the better cleaning of the crush. And then another material uh, for for metal cleaning is coconut water, and then we have also pineapple juice. This is common material for crease cleaning. Yeah, for crease cleaning. Coconut water also common for crease cleaning. This is the we can see from this picture. This is crease, and this practice will also we'll discuss on tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, tomorrow afternoon we can say more in detail from the laboratory practices. And another material which is mengkudu. Mengkudu is the fruit from Java. I don't know in English, so I just write mengkudu because I don't know what is mengkudu in English. So we can also use this mengkudu extract to do the cleaning of the metals. And then this is a bronze cleaning again with a lemon to clean the bronze. Yeah. So for example, this one we can get the good result of the cleaning. This is the brush of the music instrument. We call gamelan. This is part of gamelan. This is called bonang. We call this bonang, part of a gamelan instrument, gamelan orchestra. Gamelan orchestra. This is a music instrument. And then there's also a technique to stabilize the metal using a tannin. Tannin is a natural product that we can find from many natural resources. For example, this is a guava leaf. So if you like to eat guava, this is the tree of guava. This is the shape of the guava leaf, and the guava leaf contain high percentage of tannin. So we can extract tannin from this natural product, and also tea. We can also extract tannin from tea. This is the example of tea extract contain high percentage of tannin. This is also we can use for the metal stabilization. Okay, I'd like to continue with other material because I will provide special time for discussion. So I move forward to another material which is stone consolidation. So as I mentioned in the beginning that we have a problem with consolidation, and we have a problem with epoxy adhesive and on the stone conservation. So we need to develop a new material for stone consolidation. Nowadays, the solid silica-based consolidant is well known uh, uh, stone conservation. We have many type of silica-based consolidant like ethyl silicate or maybe methyl silicate, or now we know also lithium silicate. This is a kind of silicate that can use for the stone consolidation. This is the basic reaction of the stone consolidation. So basically, to do the consolidation is to make let's say a bridge. You know. So you can see this is a silica bridge. This is the particle of the stone, two particle of the stone, and then we create a new bridge between these two particles. And the new bridge will create the increase of the strength of the strength of the stone, because the more bridge occurs on the gap of the pores between the particles, we can get the more strength of the stone. So this is the basic reaction, and this is the picture how silica bridge can uh, actually make a new bonding between the particle of the deteriorated stone. And this is also another example. This is how silica bridge play a role in this consolidation. And this is an example that I mentioned before. This is the epoxy adhesive applied 30, 40 years ago, and we want to renew this epoxy material because this is not good for long term. So, but if we want to renew, what kind of material that we can apply to replace this old material? So now we are developing the ethyl silicate consolidant. The ethyl silicate is not a it's not a traditional, of course. This is not a traditional. This is chemical that we can buy in the chemical store. But now we develop we modify the ethyl silicate with the particle modifier. Why? Because the performance of ethyl silicate is not excellent without particle modification. But if we add another particle modification, we will have a better performance of the consolidation. This is not an easy explanation. Sorry, this is very chemistry. So I will make it simple. I mean, with description of bridge, I hope you can easily understand what I mean. And this is my topic and my dissertation or my thesis, doctoral thesis. So we hope we will have a good material for doing this kind of adhesive to the stone, and also to do the mortar system to close the stone joint. This is the new material. And rice which has us, this is, of course, this is a natural product we can get everywhere, because every Indonesian people eat rice, you know, from Sumatra until Papua. All Indonesian people eat rice, so we can get the rice husk everywhere, because this is a byproduct from the agriculture of the rice. We can get the rice husk, and then we can burn this rice husk to get the ash, and this ash is contained with a high percentage of silica. So we can modify the silica with a specific method to get the nanoparticle of silica, and then we put this nanoparticle silica for the modification of ethyl silicate. This is the what we done up to now. And then another example is the use of animal glue. This is not a new invention. I think all conservator professional already know about this, to apply the animal glue. But now we in Indonesia, to find the animal glue, the good animal glue is not easy. So this is also a challenge to our conservators to get the good quality of animal glue. But the other example of the animal glue, we can also use the the protein, apa sih, Mas? Perekat. Sorry, I forgot the name. Perekat Sing selain ancur ini Mas?
Gelatin.
Sorry, gelatin. Sorry, I lost the word. Gelatin. This is gelatin. Gelatin from the animal. This gelatin. It is a product that we can get easy from the market. So once we difficult to find the good quality animal glue, we can also use the gelatin. This is the example when we apply the gelatin and also the animal glue for to gluing the broken ceramic. This is a common method. I mean, this is not a new invention. Many people knows about this. And then we also do the reversibility test because we have to know the reversibility because the animal glue and also this the animal glue have a good property of reversibility. So when we finish this gluing technique and gluing activity, and then someday maybe we want to reopen, so we can just put this object into the warm or hot water. This is warm water, and then the animal glue will easily lose. This is the feasibility test. This is important. So by the regulation of Indonesian law, the principle of reversibility, this material is quite ideal to answer this the regulation. And then this is my additional information from the essential oil because many participants asked about the application of essential oil for insecticide and also insect repellent during the Professor Rianto session. So I add this slide on this presentation. So this is the termite when we do the testing, and this is the testing when we test the insecticide in the specific room. So we test this is the chamber, the box chamber. This is to represent the special room on the storage on the or maybe the cabinet or maybe the vitrine or so on. So this is this box represent space, yeah, represent a space. And then we put the glass, and inside the glass there are termites with food, which is cellulose, and then we put essential oil here, and then we observe how many days the insect will die. This is the how we put the essential oil inside the bottle, and this is the stick. It's like a fiber stick. So the essential oil can pass the stick and then evaporate and fill the chamber. So the vapor will fill the chamber, and then the efficacy we can see how many days the insect will be die. And this is the test for repellent. We do the different method to test the insecticide to kill the insect and to repellent. Repellent means just to make the insect is not come to the object. So we modify the aquarium to be modify. We modify the aquarium with several chambers, and in each chamber we put the essential oil, and then the termite we put the termite in this chamber, and then there is a way to move to another chamber. So if the essential oil is effective, the termite will move to the new chamber, which is without essential oil. This is the nature. The nature of the insect will go to the better environment. So for people maybe like us, we always try to find the fresh air. Yeah, we prefer to get the fresh air than the air with a not good smell, for example, like that. This is the same situation where the termite is not like the smell of the essential oil. Then the termite move to other chamber. So this is also good testing method to identify whether the essential oil can play as a essential repellent or not. And another technique to apply the essential oil, not always with a bottle. There's also research. This is done by our colleagues in Frederiksberg Museum, Ms. Ria. She did this research for his master degree. So she developed the essential oil using uh, the solid material. It's like a gel, yeah, like a gel. So she created a gel with essential oil. So this material become a slow release essential oil material. This is also good that we can apply this material inside the chamber, inside the vitrine, and so on. This is a good innovation compared with this bottle method. Okay, I think that's my presentation, and I'm happy because I can do in the proper time. So we still have time for discussion, and I give back the time to Mr. Hanif. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nahar, for your very interesting presentation about the development of conservations based on the traditional methods and the use of natural products in Indonesia. I do agree with you, Mr. Nahar, because Indonesia is very rich in terms of its biodiversity. And even people call Indonesia is the emerald of Equator, or Zamrud Khatulistiwa. And the data said that Indonesia also the second most various biodiversity in the world. So there are still more to explore about these natural products. Okay, Mr. Nahar, we still have about 45 minutes for the question and answer sessions. And again, the participant, would you please to type your question in the chat box or raise your hand so you can ask directly to Mr. Nahar. Okay, so we have had some question, Mr. Nahar. I will read it to you. You don't have to read it yourself. Okay, so the first one, yeah, this is from Mr. Zhang Emmanuel. He asked, may I kindly know what are your alternative substitutes for the use of chemicals in conservations in accordance with the UNESCO recommendation about the chemical use? So the alternative substitutes for the use of chemicals. Maybe you have talked about it a lot, but he needs more convincing about your materials that could be used here, Mr. Nahar.
Yes, I mean, he asked the question before I explained all of
Yes.
the presentation.
Okay.
So I think his question already answered in my presentation.
Okay, Mr. Yang Emmanuel, there is no more answer about your question because Mr. Nahar has already explained it more in his presentation along this time. Okay, so we go to another question, Mr. Nahar. It's from Mr. Haidar Saleh. He asks whether, in layman terms, how should we explain the difference between a chemical compound and natural-based compound? The essential oils in the extractions in layman terms. How should we explain those difference? Mr. Nahar, could you get this question?
Yes, but difficult to answer because basically whatever in this world is chemicals. Yes, you agree, I think, Mas Hani, for example, our body itself, we have a protein, we have a fat, we have a carbohydrate, we have and so on. All of them is a chemical, basically it's a chemical. So how to explain the difference is difficult, but at least we can see the results of this product. For example, essential oil, the product is from the natural product, so we can say, okay, this is a natural-based compound, but maybe we can easily differentiate with a natural product and synthetic product like that. Maybe, for example, epoxy. Epoxy is a synthetic because there are no epoxy in the natural environment. So epoxy we have to create in a way to have the epoxy. This is the synthetic compound or synthetic chemicals, but this essential oils and kind of extract and other natural material, we call it natural compound. I think that is my answer, Pak Hanif.
Yeah, so sometimes it's difficult to differentiate between the terminology of subchemical and natural because it's all like mixing. Could say we could say that. Okay, Mr. Heather, if you want to ask more about this, you could ask directly to Mr. Nahar. Or should we any discussion about this? Do you agree with what Mr. Nahar has said about this, Mr. Haider? Do you have any thoughts about this? Okay, I think Mr. Haider is not available for the discussion. Okay, so we're going to move to another questions. This is from Miss Sim Junhui. She asked, I was wondering if the mengkudu is buah noni, maybe in Malaysia is buah noni, yeah, or buah nona, since it looks like a lot like the unripe fruit in my neighborhood. So maybe she has three that look like mengkudu. Yeah. Is it right, buah noni or buah nona?
Yeah, I think so. I just forget the English name, but maybe it's a noni fruits, and yeah, it's growing everywhere. So it's not surprising when Sim Jin Hui said it's a fruit that grows in its nearby house, maybe.
Yes.
And also
they call it buah noni.
Yes.
Noni fruit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nair. Now we go to Miss Gwen Jenkins. Sorry, Gwen Jenkins. Do I spell your name correctly? Miss Gwen? I'm sorry. Gwen Jenkins. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Gwen, your question is about the egg yolks. I will read your question to Mr. Nahar. So interesting, especially about the myth of egg yolks. Just to share that in Chattindat, right? India, there are famous for egg white plaster, but not egg yolk. I've also seen it in a conservation project in Calcutta, used in panning the interior vinyl lime finish. How to test to prove it exists in heritage buildings? Is there any egg yolks or a white expressor real in the heritage buildings? How can we prove it, Mr. Nahar? Do we have any methodologies to prove that?
Yeah, yes. I cannot answer yet because I didn't do the research about the egg, even in Borobudur, because we have also the myth in Java. People say that Borobudur also constructed with the white eggs, but it's difficult to prove this myth. So I'm sorry I cannot answer this question because I didn't have the data. But your information that in India they also apply this white egg on the plaster is very important. So thank you very much for your information. So maybe it's also probably it's also possible that in the mosque of Pulau Penyengat, they also use the egg for the plaster because the influence from India also came to Indonesia. So thank you very much for the additional information about the application of white egg in India. But sorry, I cannot give you how to test or how to prove because I don't have experience about it.
I can also send you a video that an India had done on the plastering. So it shows you how he actually mixes or makes the egg white fluffy so that it can mix into the plaster. So you can see the video later.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. You will share it now or?
Sorry, I'm not sure how to share it now, but I might share it on the email.
Okay,
But,
sorry. Okay, okay,
yeah,
thank you. Okay, thank you.
I'll make sure you get it, but not just at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so Miss Green, so according to your experience, there are really white egg in the heritage buildings in India, right? Yeah, but
Yes,
I'm sorry,
yeah, and the story goes like Czechoslovakia, the famous Charles V bridge was built with thousands of eggs, but I don't know if it was white or the yolk. But this story has continued around the world, and I'd love somebody to take it up as research. That'd be great.
Yes, it happens also in Indonesia. I think it's very interesting, Mr. Nahar, that we could sometime, someday, we can make a research about this, because people also, commonly people say that the yolk, white or yolk, egg yolks, I mean, I'm sorry, it is really used there, but there is no evidence about it, Mr. Nahar, yeah?
Yes.
Scientifically.
Yes, scientifically, because I am scientist. Oh, sorry, I'm scientist, so everything have to be scientifically explainable.
Okay, okay, that's a very good discussion here about the egg yolk. Okay, now should we move to another question? This is from Miss Sim Junhui again. Thank you for the questions. For the use of animal glue or gelatin on the broken ceramics, since it is organic protein, will it attract pests? Because from my understanding, animal glue is often used in Chinese juice or silk painting, but they will mix in alum as a kind of preservative against pests. So it will surely attract pests, but how do you think about this, Mr. Nahar?
Okay, so in our experience, the animal will attract pests or not depend on the humidity. So if the object is dry, they will not insect or fungi, mainly from fungi, because fungi easily can grow on the protein. But if the glue is completely dry, the fungi cannot grow on the dry object. It's just the nature of fungi, because fungi always grow with a lot of water. So when we put the object in the dry condition or dry vitrine or dry cabinet, it will be safe. But also we have an idea to add a chemical compound to prevent the animal attract to the glue. But normally, if we can put the object in the dry condition, they will not attract the pests. This is my opinion.
Okay, yes, maybe for the fungi and other microorganism, they will not be attracted with the dried situations. But how about the pests that can smell maybe those proteins? Maybe I would cross-check to Mr. Sims Junhui. Would you like to give us more information about
Yes, sure, no problem.
in China, how pests can be attracted by that natural products? Miss Sim Junhui, could you please tell us a bit about your experience?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, this is because I have a background in fine art. So part of my training is we used to learn how to prepare the silk for silk painting, or the Chinese rice paper for gouache painting. And so it's a mixture of the animal glue with alum. Alum is a kind of mineral, if I'm not mistaken, that you can mix with water. It's also used to wash the internal organs of like the pig intestine, sometimes for food. So it will actually mix in with the alum to produce a kind of solution that, especially for silk painting, we will paint it on the silk to let it dry. So it's also making the silk easier for painting. And the alum mostly is just to prevent the pests from eating the paint off the silk. So because I'm not from a chemist background, so that is my understanding from the fine art background. So I'm just wondering about that. But thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Nahar, for the explanation.
Yes, thank you
Yes.
very much, Sim Jun Hui. This is also important information for us, because next we can also try to apply this alum. Alum is aluminium potassium sulfate, I think, in chemistry. It's a chemical that normally used for water treatment and water purification or something like that, maybe. Yes, is it right? Yes, so maybe we will also develop this.
I have to check because we just call it in the short term. But
Okay.
let me check and then I will type it in the chat.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Thank you very much, Sim Jun Hui. I'm sorry, for your insight for us about this natural product, especially that can attract pests. Thank you very much. Now we go to another question, Mr. Nahar. This is from Mr. Suhardi Hartono. Yeah. He said, Pak Nahar, is it possible technically to combine the natural way of conserving wood, such as applying essential oils in the traditional way, and then applying synthetic paint, modern chemical compound, as a final finishing touch for appearances? Is it a recommended way in terms of conservation principles? Yeah, but principle two. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Yes, please.
No, it's difficult to answer because I have no experience about this. But because normally, if we use a natural product for wooden treatment, so we use a totally traditional method with the tobacco and clove oil without painting. Uh, this is new for us to apply the essential oil and then uh, with a new painting. But in principle, this is also possible. It's all possible because in the modern technology, sometimes uh, the the wood industry, they put the special chemical inside the wood and then they apply the paint. So this is normal in wood technology. So if you ask about is it possible? Of course, this is possible, but I cannot give you more information because I didn't have an experience about this. But we can learn more about this, I think. This is also a new idea from Pak Suhardi. This is my
Yes.
answer. Sorry if you are not satisfied with my answer.
Yeah. Yes, it's like a in between modern and traditional way. It's combinations. Maybe it's only how to say it. Is it modern or is it traditional? And maybe there is not yet any methodology that combine those, and we call it something. This terminology about this combination, right? So, but it's still recommended to mix the traditional and modern technology. I think Mr. Nahar, yeah. Okay, now this is another questions from Mr. Saiful Bakhri. Yeah, I will read it to you. Maybe you can also read it. Mr. Nahar, I'm always inspired by your work and the team at Balai Konservasi Borobudur, such as fascinating effort and important findings to the global conservation practices. I was just wondering if you have had trials with Weber chamber, and it was proven to be effective. Do you think this will be the applicable too if we infuse the essential oils within the HVAC system to cover large areas such as museum storage in killing or preventing fungi or pests?
Yes, I think so. I read a pattern from Korea. They use on this kind of technology to use the essential oil to the museum storage. This is also possible, but we have to choose what kind of essential oil. In Korea, they use the pure extract of clove leaf oil because the clove leaf oil contain the eugenol, and then the eugenol have a strong effect on the microbiology, especially in the fungi. So they develop method for preventing the fungi and pests attack to the storage object, the object in the storage with HVICC. Yes, it's something like that. So I just read from the publication. So maybe in Borobudur we can also use this technique, but we will start with the my presentation, my last presentation. I show you how we use the essential oil in the chamber, and we check the effect of the termite repellent and the termite termicide, insecticide. So this is something that we can develop more. This is the basic. This is the basic testing. Basic testing of the essential oil on the special room. But from this research, we can develop with further application with SVAC, with other applications. So I think we will go also to this kind of research, but up to now we still do with a small scale of the chamber. But this is the basic. From the basic, if we understand the basic, we can develop more. This is my message to you, Saiful, because you are still young, you are very motivated conservator. I know you because we are do the corresponding with a message many times. So I hope you can motivate you to understand the basic, and from the basic we can go further to the other development of the methodology. That is my answer, Mas Hanif.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nahar. I think Mr. Saiful Bakhri would like to say something here.
Yes, please.
Please do so,
Saiful.
Mr.
Just want to say thank you.
Just open your camera.
I just want to say thank you. It's great answer.
Yes, he has opened it.
And we can collaborate further. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Saiful Bahri. He is from Conservation Office of Bali, right?
Yes.
Okay. Bali. Yes. Okay, we go to another questions, Mr. Nahar. Yeah, I think there are some explanation about alum here, and also about the egg yolks here. Maybe all of you can read it from the chat box. Or Miss Harpreet Tandai, maybe you have experience about egg yolks. Could you share us here? This is more like a discussion, right? So explaining about
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Miss Gwyn's questions. Yeah, Mr. Harpreet, you have experience about egg yolks and the FTIR or ATR on plaster sample can be performed. So maybe you could tell us more about these techniques that maybe could be used in Indonesia and another country.
So hello everyone. So I just wanted to answer to Gwen answer, and so the thing is, I've been working in India as well, but in northwest part of India, in Rajasthan and in Punjab, where we don't have the use of egg that much, but I know the use and how to identify egg yolk because of the culture in Italy and Switzerland. So if you want to identify the class of a binder, whether it's organic or inorganic, you can perform this technique called FTIR spectroscopy. So it's mainly, it consists in taking a sample of any kind of like object in which you are interested, and it can be whether a plaster or it can be a sample from a painting. So you use this technique and you analyze your sample, and you will have a spectrum which you can, how can I say, you can confront and you can compare it to some database that, as far as I know, there is an online source from where you can get some data to compare with your sample, and you can try to understand whether your binder is yolk, whether it's a resin, whether it's Arabic gum, whether it's a silica-based material or calcium-based material, I mean, organic and inorganic. So I think FTIR can be a good technique to identify at least the class, and it can't give you like the right identification of the binder, but at least you will be able to understand the class of the binder.
Okay,
That's
thank
all.
you, Ms. Sandrit. Thank you very much, Ms. Harpreet Tandai. Yes, I think the albumin of the eggs is more suitable to be a binder, not the yolk. Albumin means the white eggs, right, Miss Queen? Yeah, maybe it's more suitable to be a glue of these materials compared to yolks. Okay. Yes, maybe we could learn more from you, Mr. Harpreet Tandai, about this, and we could share about the methodologies, and we thank you for that. Okay, thank you very much. Now, Ms. Green, I invite you again to speak directly in this forum, please, because I have read your questions here and your comments here.
Okay, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by the way foodstuffs are used in building materials for all sorts of things. The sugar in plaster and mortar in India, which is to do with waterproofing. But I noticed that you can have black pepper essential oil, and it's against termites. I wondered if there's been any investigation in the use of pepper, because I found in a historic document of 1834 that pepper dust was being used in plaster, and peppercorns were used in mortar in Canton, and they were buying it from Penang. So that's why it has a link with what I've been working on. So has there been any research in the use of pepper against termites, white ants?
Okay.
Okay.
Can I answer?
To you,
Mas
yes,
Anit?
to you, Mr.
Okay.
Nahar, yes.
Yes. Actually, we did research on the pepper, essential oil from pepper. Pepper, yeah. Pepper, yeah, essential oil from pepper. When we start this research, we are very motivated that I think this test will be effective because we can smell from the pepper essential oil. It's very, very strong smell, very, very strong smell. So at that time, I assume that this material will be very effective to termite, my assumption. Then I compare pepper and then lemongrass and clove essential oil. And surprisingly, the best one is clove oil. The second is lemongrass, and the third is pepper. This is something that I'm not expected before, but this is true. This is based on our data. Clove oil even stronger compared with pepper, essential oil, to the termite. But maybe if we try to add other deterioration factor like fungi or maybe bacteria, maybe people is stronger. But in terms of termites, clove oil is even stronger than people. This is, for me, this is surprising. Really, this is, I surprised with this, with my own result. This is surprising. That is my comment.
Thank you so much. That's really priceless to know that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have still more time, 15 minutes maybe. Yes, Mr. Georgios Tavares, please.
Thank you
Your
very
questions.
much. I confirm that you are now the leader of green conservation with all your products that you have. I am very,
Thank
very
you.
interesting. No, it's really, it's not compliment. I'm honest. It's really, you are a very rich country. So my question, because I'm a chemist, but I'm a wooden technologist too. I'm very, very interested regarding the discussion of termites, because termites we have not only in your country, Indonesia, in all the world. In all the world, we are full of termites. We have about, I think so, 500 types of species. But the most of these species lives in the ground, not in the wood, like the insects what eats the wood. So this type of methods of essence that we use is to apply to make impregnation of the wood, or to, for example, make an impregnation with different types of materials using in the ground, so they can move away the termites. Because the methods, there are two methods: or to use hormones, or to use insecticides, because they are very, very dangerous. They make big dangerous for the ground, for the health, etc. If your method is that we can make put these materials in the ground too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, Mr. Giorgio. So in Indonesia, we have two types of termites. So ground termite and dry wood termite. This is Indonesian terminology. I don't know whether it's also well known in international terminology, but we have two types: ground termite and dry wood termites.
Yes, correct.
Our material mostly tested on the dry wood termites. Why? Because dry wood termite is, from our point of view, is more damaging to the object, because we cannot see, but it is inside, and then damaging from the inside of the material of the wood heritage. While the ground termite, we can easily identify from the path, the path, the way where the termite attack from the ground onto the object. So we can easily identify, and then we can stop the attack of the termite. But the dry wood termite, this is something that that we cannot directly observe, and so we more concerned about this termite. And for the ground termite, we just learn about the new technology, how to control. We have a collaboration with other institution in Indonesia. We call LIPI. LIPI is like a science center. Yeah, Mas Hanif, do you know the English of LIPI? It's maybe like a scientific center of Indonesia.
Yeah, that's the Center for the Research in every science in Indonesia. So
Yes,
you have
yes,
to have
yes.
a permission from
Multi-science, yeah.
LIPI. Yeah, multi-science, yes.
Yes, multi-science research center. And there's a researcher who specialized in this termite, and he suggests us to do the treatment to the queen of the ground termites, because the dry wood termite can live without queen, but the ground termite, when we can kill the queen, so will be finished. No more termite. This is the behavior of this ground termite. So this my friend from LIPI, they develop a bacteria, not a chemical. This is bacteria. The bacteria will feed to the termite, and the worker of the termite will bring this food to the queen, and then the queen eat this food that was containing the bacteria, and then the queen will die. That is the new technology, the approach to the queen directly, not the colony of the termite. But we are still learning about this. I'm sorry, I don't have good explanation, but we just learned last year from my colleagues from LIPI. We didn't develop this kind of material. We still focus on the dry wood termites. That is my answer, Mr. Georgios.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Adding to Mr. Georgios' questions is from Josephine. Did you verify that essential oil can also kill the larva? Because larva is a big problem, the main problem to be solved. Does it also kill the larva, Mr. Nahar? Those essential oils.
What kind of larva? Because we normally use rat as a test animal. We didn't do the larva because I don't know what kind of larva. Maybe like a beetle larva. Maybe I don't know. But we didn't do the larva. Usually we use a termite for the animal test.
Okay, because Ms. Josephine said that this is the main problem for the termites. So maybe I invite Miss Josephine to speak here. Miss Josephine, do you mind speaking here in this forum about your question about larva? Well, I think Josephine is okay. She's not available. Okay, we move to another topic about fungi and algae. So this is suggestions from Miss Harpreet. Have you ever tried neem oil as a biocide? Or minyak mimba in Indonesia, minyak mimba.
Yeah. We start to do the research on neem, or in Indonesia we call nimba, or in scientific name is Azadirachta tree. We start the research last year, but we are not doing on the oil, but on the extract, because the neem in Indonesia, the neem tree in Indonesia, only containing very few amount of essential oil. So it's difficult to take the essential oil from the neem tree. So that's why we decide to use the extract of the neem leaf, the neem leaf. So we take the leaf from the tree and do the extraction and get the extract, and then we do the biocide for, especially for the fungi with this extract, not the essential oil. That is my answer, but the result is not finished. It is my colleagues doing this research. So if you ask me, do you ever try? Yes, we try now. We are doing to do that. So, but the result we cannot explain yet. How is it effective or not? We cannot explain yet, because this is ongoing research for the neem. But again, it's not neem oil, but neem extract. I don't know why in Indonesia the neem is not containing high percentage of oil like other neem in Europe, maybe in other country. Maybe in the species of this Azadirachta is different maybe. So we decided to use the extract of Nimba.
Yes. Okay. So once more, I would like to invite Ms. Harpreet. How about your experience about using these neem oils for your research? Maybe. Okay.
Okay.
Please,
So,
Ms. Harpreet.
thank you very much, Mr. Nahar, for your answer. So I made neem extract from neem leaf. So a couple of years ago, I used this neem oil to clean some biological growth from a plaster from a wall painting. So there is a palace in Rajasthan, and we had this wall painting from 18th century, which were completely covered with algae, fungi, and lichens. So I tried the neem oil, which is extracted from the leaf, and I did some trials at 1, 3, and 5%. And surprisingly, I had really good results because 1% wasn't working, but 3 and 5 was working very well. But the thing is, then I didn't have any time to monitor that part, so I don't know whether I have any kind of alteration on that area and if there are some residues, but it worked pretty well. Yeah, that's my small experience. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the information, Harpreet. And from where you get the oil?
So we got it from a pharmacy in Rajasthan. I was working in Rajasthan. Yeah.
So it's easy to get?
It's pretty easy.
To get?
Yes, it's pretty easy. But then I don't know whether, I mean, all the pharmacy, they have the same like source, or each like brand has something different. So it was easy to get this neem oil from any pharmacy. We got it like from the pharmacy next to the castle, to the fort, and we tried it and it worked. Yeah. So I was just wondering if you are doing some research, and you are. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you
Yes,
for the information.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Harpreet. Yes, I think it's also commonly sold in Indonesia, Nimba oil as a herbals, right? Herbal pesticides. Maybe we could try to do a research about this, Mr. Nahar, in our office. So
yes.
it will be more. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Harpreet, for your informations about your research about neem oil. Yes. Okay. We still have 2 minutes left. If there are any questions, if you don't have any more questions, we will close the session. Okay. One more questions. This is from Thailand. No, it's from Miss Josephine. In Thailand, we are carry on research on cinnamon essentials for biogrowth, right? As it worked well in our testing campaign. We are using it in hydroalcoholic solution at 2/3%. This is an insight for us. She also used the cinnamon essential. Have we used it in Indonesia, Mr. Nahar, the cinnamon essentials?
No, I didn't do the research on essential oil of cinnamon. But I think this is also interesting because Indonesia also produce many essential oil from cinnamon, and Indonesia also exported the cinnamon. So
yes,
it's also a good idea to do research on cinnamon oil. So thank you very much for the information, Ms. Josephine.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Josephine, for your informations about the cinnamon oils. We will continue to maybe explore more about the cinnamon oils in our office. Thank you very much. So this is the last questions for us because we are running out of time. Thank you very much for your all participation, and especially for Mr. Nahar Cahyandaru for giving us such a great lecture today. Thank you very much. We give applause to Mr. Nahar. And
Thank
to
you
all of
very much.
us,
Yeah.
thank you very much. So this is the end of our session. I don't think I can conclude this session because all of you has been more experienced, and I think I will end this session. Thank you very much again for your participation in this session. See you again maybe next day. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening. Have a nice morning. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So back to the organizer. Do you have any more announcement to be announced here or for tomorrow's? Because tomorrow is going to be a laboratory practices, right? Organizer, please. Do you have any announcement?
Yes, tomorrow we will have a laboratory practice at 9:30 because tomorrow is Friday. So we will start at 9:30 and we change the session. In the morning we will do wood conservation, and then at the afternoon we will do for the metal. So we just change between metal and wood, because for metal we need more preparation for the metal. And we will start from 9:30 because tomorrow is Friday, Mas Hanif. So hopefully we can finish at 11:30. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nahar. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.